Growing up, I remember my mom laying out pattern pieces on the table, the orange mark on the fabric, and the scritch of the fabric scissors. I remember watching her detailed construction and dedication to making. I remember the joy of having something made just for me. I was a child of the 80s, by the way, if you couldn't tell. As I got older, I realized what I thought was cool when I was younger and what the mainstream thought was cool were two different things, but I wanted to be cool. Being cool costs money. My family did not want to purchase certain clothes from certain stores, so if I wanted it, I had to save for it. Side note, we should all go watch the documentary on Netflix about this particular store, because at the time I thought it was cool, but as we know, when we get older we learn more things. Anyway, these two ethos of what fashion is have stuck with me to this day, that is joyful and that it is valuable. Throughout college and my career in architecture, I always had this picture of fashion in the back of my mind. And finally, in 2008, I decided to do something about it. I sought out collaborators and laid out my values. Redress Raleigh was born. At the same time, I was the consequence of the economic times and was laid off from my job in architecture. While I was searching for employment, I decided I wanted to do something different and ended up taking a lower management position at a mainstream retailer. Some aspects of the job fit really well with my love of fashion, the joy of a busy day with happy customers, the value of helping someone find the perfect gift. Others, not so much. I distinctly remember standing over a pile of clothing with box cutters almost in tears. These were called damaged and defective, and it was part of my job duties to slice into the fabric of each one and make sure it was destroyed before being thrown into the garbage. I could not fathom why this is something a giant multi-billion-dollar company would do instead of donating them. I still don't, even though I've read all of the articles and understand the branding and all that, I still don't. I also can still smell the off-gassing from those hideous plastic foot flops and feel the smooth vinyl of the window clings that we took down and threw out on a regular basis. I can hear the rattling noise of plastic hangers going into the bin to be trashed at the end of the day. Reusing them, I was told, was too costly. Speaking of cost, do you know how much I made at this job, which enabled me to open and close the store, access the safe, and lead a team of employees? Oh, and with a college degree. $9.75 an hour. I was one of the highest paid employees in the store, but I made less working there than I did on unemployment. I was already learning more about the impact of the fashion industry through research and such, but this was a personal, life-defining experience that catalyzed my drive to make it better. Unlike many others within the fashion industry, I was lucky enough to have better options. I quit that job, went to graduate school for textiles, and continued working on Redress Raleigh, where I now serve as the executive director. Redress Raleigh was founded on the simple idea that eco-fashion could be part of all of our closets, that it could be wearable, accessible, innovative, and attractive. We are the only organization of our kind in the Southeast U.S. We have planned an annual eco-fashion show, a conference, an incubator for emerging designers, and markets for eco-minded products, among other events. These events were successful at the time and enabled us to cultivate nationwide connections in the industry that we still maintain to this day. After about a decade, we felt we could create a larger impact by focusing on citizens, some people say consumers, instead of designers. Everyday citizens, everyday people, are a part of every designer's potential customer base. They decide every day what to wear and most likely decided where to buy it. Those decisions made by millions of people the world over make an enormous impact. And right now, that impact is very detrimental to Earth and the people who work in the industry. So this is our mission now. Redress Raleigh wants to create a more responsible ecosystem for the fashion industry. We do that by educating and mobilizing citizens to be positive advocates. We also leverage our industry-related partnerships to do this. These are our goals. We focus on positive, action-oriented individual impact. In our long-term strategy, we plan to meet these goals through three objectives: identify, educate, and activate, meaning we focus on those three categories of people interested in our mission. I will come back to that idea in later slides. But basically, we try to meet people where they are and create simple suggestions for them to act or learn more, whether they are just starting to be curious or whether they want to invest more time and money. And here we hit a moment of truth. The pandemic was very tough for us. We had to put everything on hold for a few months. Though we were struggling with a lack of volunteers and funding, we noticed there was a huge disconnect between the industry discussions and everyone else. Not only garment workers, but everyday people. We also kept in mind our objectives, identifying people interested in sustainable fashion, educating people about sustainable fashion, and activating people to be advocates. We discussed what to do with the capacity that we have, and this is what we decided: to build up our online resources, increase our student partnerships, create our Tracking Textiles exhibit, set up a recurring Textiles Recycling event, and participate in the Payout coalition. The impacts on the textiles industry from the pandemic are catastrophic. Workers in particular were already struggling, and the pandemic just exacerbated this, from the lack of payment for canceled orders to the lack of protective equipment provided in the factories. Though some of these facts got some attention, there was still a disconnect between what people know about the textiles industry and what really happens. People do not understand that our clothing is made by people, and they do not understand how much power and money the large corporations have. Due to this disconnect, we started with the basics. Many people are still discovering the world of sustainable fashion and want to know more about why fast fashion is bad. They also want to know more about terms being used to describe sustainable fashion and the term greenwashing, since that is getting more use these days. There is still a huge disconnect between industry information and the everyday person. We provide a basic overview, and we're continuously adding information to these pages. We include videos, images, and articles with links to dive deeper. In addition, we have a monthly-ish newsletter that includes designers we love and the Redress Rundown. We have profiled many different sustainable fashion designers over the years, both locally and beyond. We have many of these linked on our website as well. The Redress Rundown includes things we are currently reading, watching, and or listening to, relevant news or podcasts or shows, or anything that we feel is adding to the dialogue within the sustainable fashion industry. We feel that the industry can be inaccessible and exclusive, so we try to bridge the gap between information within the industry and the everyday citizen. We also have PDF downloads on our site on specific subjects that we are commonly asked, such as how to green your closet or how to read a clothing tag. And we have book, podcast, and movie recommendations for people who want to learn more about different aspects of the fashion and textiles industry. As I mentioned, the pandemic definitely decreased our volunteer base, but we found opportunities to partner with students on more project-based instead of event-based activities. We have mentored high schoolers on subjects such as upcycling and are currently working with a group of volunteers, the General Services Foundation, who plan campaigns and events for local nonprofits. We also partnered with the Park Scholars Program at NC State for their Civic Engagement Initiative, an academic year project that finished up this April. And last year we had a great experience being a case study for a student group in a public relations class also at NC State. We love working with students. We love their energy, and their insights are invaluable. They also help provide feedback on how we distill information to everyday citizens. If you know of any student opportunities, please let us know through the website, or you can email me at beth@redressraleigh.com. What the everyday citizen sees is totally different than what we know happens to make our clothing. All they see is sale, 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 and shiny happy things, not who made their clothes or how it's made. Our Tracking Textiles exhibit was created to start addressing that gap. For our Educate objective, we generally host events. We do plan to do more in the future, but during COVID times, we were at least able to create this exhibit. The interactive exhibit focuses on the modern life cycle of fabric. It is owned by Redress Raleigh and can be set up at any future event. The 7 categories of the exhibit all had information on the many different complex areas of the supply chain and some considerations for each, such as water and energy usage, chemicals used, or waste creation. A Reduce Your Impact suggestion was included on each section as a positive action any individual could take. We also had a call to action, aka #FashionFootprint, where we asked people to reflect on what they'd learned and what they would do in the future. In addition, we developed multiple social media graphics for each category that we sent out via social media and our e-newsletter. And this past April, we actually received a digitally interactive version that people can download onto their own computers thanks to our partnership with the NCSU Park Scholars. The everyday citizen has immense buying power, and we want to emphasize the importance of positive individual action. We want them to understand that people make their clothes. We also want everyone to understand that they can make better decisions not only with buying, but with laundry, wear and use, and when discarding products. Our last objective is Activate. To us, that means creating positive advocates both through their actions and with their voice. One of our most exciting plans is to set up a recurring textiles recycling event with a local boutique where you can drop off your items. We are constantly asked about textiles recycling, and since the city has discontinued their curbside recycling program, we are looking for a way to make it easier for people to recycle items instead of trashing them. We are working with Flourish Market and Green Zone to get that set up, and when we did one in the fall, we collected nearly 100 pounds of textiles in just about a week. We have also joined the Payout Fashion Coalition. Payout formed during the pandemic when retailers started refusing to pay workers for completed orders. However, they have since evolved into something greater, a global coalition of garment workers, experienced labor rights groups, NGOs, and fashion activists. As part of this coalition, we believe that centering workers on our planet is the future of fashion. One of the main things that Payout is focused on is a petition with 7 demands, as shown in the images at the bottom here. We joined Payout specifically because they are collaborating with workers, because they are engaging citizens, and because they are seeking binding agreements and legislation for brands. We feel there has historically been a disconnect between sustainable fashion activists and workers and brands. By being a part of this coalition, we can amplify the calls to action, stay up to date on current national legislation, and help disseminate this information to our audience. We have also added a lot of other information on labor rights to our website to share with our audience. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know what kind of future I want to fight for, and what I want Redress Raleigh to fight for, a more responsible fashion ecosystem for all. Thank you. You can find us on most social media at Redress Raleigh. Our website is redressraleigh.org, or you can email me personally at beth@redressraleigh.com.